Hello, my name's James. I'm behind the viral sensation here, which is a screenshot showing rental properties in the city of Buffalo, New York, which are owned by an LLC. Since I put this up, some people have asked me for the original, and I can't really give you that because this isn't a map I made so much as just a screenshot of me looking at data. I don't want to give anyone the impression that I'm an expert or a wizard, so I'm actually just going to show you how I made this, how you can do it yourself, and how you can do it better. So when we talk about mapping nowadays, what we generally mean is getting a computer to read some geospatial data for us. For Buffalo, New York, the city has a portal, data.buffalony.gov, where you can go download a lot of things. And what we want is the geospatial data. We're going to get two data sets here. The first is the rental registry, which is, in theory, a registry of all the properties available to rent in the city. So once you get in here, you're going to export to CSV. You do have some other options, and I'll point out that what I'm showing you is not the only way of doing things. It's just the way I use. It's quick, it's easy. So you're going to download a CSV. After you got your rental registry, you're going to go and we're going to get a second data set that we're going to use, which is the tax assessment roll. Yep. And just like before, we're going to export a CSV. So click that and it'll download. Now that we've got our data sets, the next thing we're going to need is a geographic information system. I'm using QGIS, which is free and open source, which I like, especially because it's free. Once you've got it installed, you just launch it. And open up a new project. So without getting into too many details, QGIS and other geographic information systems work a little bit like Photoshop in that you're adding layers to your map. For what we're doing, we're just going to add two layers really. One, you go into your browser here and you scroll down to XYZ tiles. This one's really easy. You just double click and you're going to get the OpenStreetMap. Zoom down to Buffalo. The other layer we're going to be adding, we're going to use the layer menu. Sometimes you can double click with these. You can double click on shape files, which is one reason you might want to use them. But we downloaded CSVs, so we are adding delimited text layers. CSV is just a big long list of values separated by commas, so comma separated values. And this is how we do it. I'm doing something naughty and I'm working out of my downloads folder. I put all my other downloads into a garbage folder here. I'm going to add the rental registry. And QGIS is clever enough to go through, you can think of it like a big spreadsheet and find the location data, which is just a point. I click add. And hey presto, here are the properties to rent in the city of Buffalo. So for this layer, we're going to go into its properties, and we're just going to be playing around with the symbology. What does it look like? Your default here is a single symbol with little pink dots. I'm going to do categorized, that's right. And we can pick, any of the values that are on this table. Let compliance, whatever, classify. And, I'll just tell you which rental properties are in lead compliance. So again, this looks pretty bad. But I was going to show you all how to find who's owned by LLCs, so we're going to need to bring that data in. I'm going to add another delimited text layer. So I kind of lied that we only have 2 layers, I guess. And just like before, go in, don't work out your downloads folder unless you do. Ooh. Depending on your computer, this might hurt. So this is all the assessed. Yeah, I've got a decent computer and it's not in love with this, right? There we go. It's not in love with this. It's a lot. But the nice thing about this is it's also got a heck of a lot of data. Oh, it's going to open. It doesn't like this. All right, you got your property class descriptions. That's helpful. You've got the owner and their mailing address. Okay, the colors are different because I messed up. What we're going to do now is literally join our rental registry up with our assessment data. Then you join. That's the only other layer. And so what that means is, we've got these two big spreadsheets, and for every entry in the rental registry, it will see if there's an entry in the assessment roll with the same SBL. Can't remember what it stands for, but it's a unique identifier for every lot. You don't have to change much here. This will work. The only thing I want to change is this custom name prefix. The reason I had to start over with a bunch of stuff is because I forgot to do this, and it'll be clear in a second. I'm just going to call this AR for assessment roll. But basically, when it adds all this data over here onto our big spreadsheet, it marks each one to say this is imported, and it'll be much, much easier for me if I can remember the name of it, and I can type it easily rather than having to type out assessment 2000, blah, 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 blah. So clicking OK, and nothing happens because this is one of those intense tasks. How's everyone doing? You can probably hear my fan heating up right now as it, because it's reading down one table, and then it's for each one it's reading down the other table. Okay, here we go. We've got our join layer done. Apply that. Awesome. If you look at fields now, we've got our basic, the stuff that we already had from the rental registry, but now we've got all the assessment data as well. So now we can come and change our symbology again. Rather than categorized, we're going to have rule-based, which, yep. So this lets us enter a little formula. I'm not going to go through everything about how to write these, but if you remember, we got assessment roll underscore. So I'm saying is AR, so an imported value here. Owner one, is it like, does it look like LLC? And then I've got these little things here, which are wildcards, so that if it is Bill Jones LLC, that'll be a match. And then I'm out. I'll check whether that's working. 4,000. And I'm also going to do AR. One anymore. We're not looking at lead anymore right now. Okie dokie, let's try that. And there you go. You got about 4,000 properties owned by LLCs in the city. So the first thing I put up that went kind of viral was basically this that we made so far, just sort of saying who's got LLC in the owner name. People pointed out correctly that can mean a lot of different things. So it's worth digging down a little bit, and we can do that really quickly here by going in to our symbology, and I'm just going to go in here and edit the marker for our LLCs. Oops. Which we're going to make a font marker, some text. Ooh. And we are going to ask it to display owner 1. I have no idea why this is the default font here. It's friggin' perverse. Anything else? Oops. Yeah, that's what I've said. Okay. And here we are. Here are the LLCs. And you can see it's picked really great colors. But the last thing I want to do is something people have been asking about for a while, which is out-of-town owners. We want to change our symbology to be based on whether the owner lives out of town, and as you can see, it's AR Mail 4, which tells you, this guy's mailing address, rather than the actual address of the property in question. So we're going to be looking at AR Mail 4. So I'm going to come in here, and rather than ask about owner 1, I'm going to ask about mail 4, see whether it's like Buffalo. Or is it like Buffalo? Yeah, there we go. And let's get rid of some of this stuff for now. You can always add it back later if you like it. Let's call that local landlords. And we'll call this out of town landlords. Okay. Now let's apply that. Okay, applying it with that checked. Okay, there we go. And that's what people have been asking about. I am going to take a screenshot of this, I think.